serving the people of this community since 1918. Service is our motto. The poor, the rich, the middle class and all are given the best of care and attention at all times. You have the privilege to select what you want. In your time of need, contact the capable, the competent, and the dependable staff of the Jwwilliams Funeral Home who is genuinely concerned with your care. At Jwwilliams Funeral Home, you are aptly served by the proprietor president, Deacon Arthur L. Parker, who continues the traditions and values set forth by the past president, Dr. Napoleon Williams. Your announcements for the Jwwilliams Funeral Home Sunday morning program are Deacon Arthur L. Parker, Reverend Isaac H. Owens, Mrs. Calandra Wilkerson Parker, Minister Frankie Harmon, Ms. Sandra Johnson, and Deacon Earl Clark, Jr.
Thank you, and good morning, friends. We come to you this morning to bring announcements, dedications, and songs. We certainly hope that your day may be brighter after listening to our program. The family of Mr. Raymond Jerome Lane of Ashburn, Georgia. The family of Miss Gloria Jean Paul of Cordele, Georgia. The family of Deacon James Ezekiel Hope, better known as Buddy Boy, of Vienna, Georgia. The family of Mr. Kenneth Armstrong of Sarasota, Florida, and Cordele, Georgia, would like to thank their many friends for the food, the flowers, the condolences, and all other expressions of sympathy and kindness shown to them during their hours of sorrow and bereavement during the past week. Mr. Raymond Jerome Lane, age 63, of 233 Kennedy Avenue, Ashburn, Georgia, died Sunday, August 4th, at the home of his beloved daughter in Tifton, Georgia. The funeral service for Mr. Raymond Jerome Lane, age 63, was held Sunday, August 11th, in the sanctuary of the Greater St. Luke Baptist Church in Ashburn, Georgia. The Reverend Samuel Gaines, pastor, his nephew, Elder Randy West, officiated. His beloved brother-in-law, Bishop Dr. Arthur West, delivered the eulogy. The burial followed at the Westview Memorial Garden in Ashburn, Georgia. Survivors include his loving and devoted children, Mrs. Tremisha Buckholtz and her husband, Mr. Bernard Buckholtz of Tifton, Georgia, Mr. Antonio Lane and his wife, Miss Karen Lane, and Mr. Xavier Lane, both of Ashburn, Georgia. His beloved grandchildren and great-grandchildren, his beloved sibling, Elder Lorraine West, and her husband, Bishop Dr. Arthur West of Araby, Georgia, Mr. Johnny Ferguson of West Palm Beach, Florida, Mr. Frank Daniels and his wife, Mrs. Bernice Daniels of Albany, Georgia, Miss Charlie Mae Sumler of Griffin, Georgia, and Mrs. Barbara Lundy of Dothan, Alabama. A host of beloved nieces, nephews, cousins, other relatives, and many, many sorrowing friends survive Mr. Raymond Jerome Lane, age 63, of 233 Kennedy Avenue, Ashburn, Georgia. Miss Gloria Jean Paul, age 74, of 614 West 18th Avenue, Cordele, Georgia, died Sunday, August 11th, at the Chris Regional Hospital in Cordele, Georgia. The funeral service for Miss Gloria Jean Paul, age 74, was held Friday, August 16th, in the chapel of the Jwwilliams Funeral Home in Cordele, Georgia. Her beloved brother, the Reverend Isaac H. Owens, pastor of the Mount Calvary Baptist Church, officiated. The burial followed at the Spring Hill Church Cemetery in Cordele, Georgia. Survivors include her loving and devoted children, Mrs. Margaret Mitchell and her husband, Mr. Tyrone Mitchell, and Mr. Christopher Paul Sr. and his wife, Mrs. Valika Paul, both of Cordele, Georgia. 9 beloved grandchildren, 11 great-grandchildren, her loving sisters, Miss Bobby Paul, Mrs. Fanny Royal, Miss Helen Paul, all of Cordele, Georgia, and Mrs. Phyllis Strickland of Fort Valley, Georgia. Her caring brothers, Deacon Johnny B. Paul Jr. of Cordele, Georgia, Elder Cleveland Paul and his wife, Mrs. Diana Paul of Ashburn, Georgia, Mr. Roscoe Paul of Tifton, Georgia, and the Reverend Isaac H. Owens and his wife, Mrs. Kathleen Owens of Cordele, Georgia. A host of beloved nieces, nephews, many cousins, other relatives, and many sorrowing friends survive Miss Gloria Jean Paul, age 74, of 614 West 18th Avenue, Cordele, Georgia. Deacon James Ezekiel Hope, affectionately known as Buddy Boy, age 93, of 415 Thornton Road, Vienna, Georgia, died Friday, August 9th, at the Cordele Health and Rehabilitation Center in Cordele, Georgia. The funeral service for Deacon James Ezekiel Hope, affectionately known as Buddy Boy, age 93, was held Saturday, August 17th, in the sanctuary of his beloved Spring Hill Baptist Church in Tippettville, Georgia. The pastor, Reverend Choice Cobb Sr., delivered the eulogy. His beloved nephew, Bishop Percy Golden, officiated. The burial followed in the churchyard cemetery. Survivors include his loving and devoted children, Deacon James L. Holt and his wife, Mrs. Faith Holt of Albany, Georgia, Mrs. Margaret Henderson of Augusta, Georgia, Mrs. Eloise Moulton and her husband, Mr. Tommy Moulton of Nashville, Tennessee, Mrs. Shirley Coleman and her husband, Mr. Arthur Coleman of Swainsboro, Georgia, and Mr. Tommy Moody and his wife, Mrs. Marilyn Moody of Midville, Georgia. A host of beloved grandchildren, great-grandchildren, one beloved sister, Mrs. Johnny Mae Young of Nashville, Tennessee, a host of nieces, nephews, cousins, other relatives, and many sorrowing friends, to include Mrs. Linda Sue Anderson of Vienna, Georgia, and Mr. Ples Edwards of Atlanta, Georgia, survived Deacon James Ezekiel Holt, affectionately known as Buddy Boy, age 93, of 415 Thornton Road, Vienna, Georgia. Mr. Kenneth Armstrong, age 68, of 2012 Leo Avenue, Sarasota, Florida, died Friday, August 9th at the Sarasota Memorial Hospital in Sarasota, Florida. The funeral service for Mr. Kenneth Armstrong was held Saturday, August 17th in the sanctuary of the Shady Grove Baptist Church in Cordele, Georgia. The Reverend Calvin E. Drake, pastor. Bishop Roland Goldberg officiated. The burial followed at the Sunnyside Cemetery in Cordele, Georgia. Survivors include his loving and devoted wife, Mrs. Gloria Cantrell Armstrong of Sarasota, Florida, his beloved and caring son, Mr. Cortez Biggins, his loving sibling, Mrs. Esther Johnson, Miss Jacqueline Armstrong, Mrs. Catherine Edwards, Miss Beulah Armstrong, Miss Pernell Armstrong, and Mr. Charles Daniels, all of Cordele, Georgia. A host of beloved nieces, nephews, cousins, other relatives, and many, many sorrowing friends survive Mr. Kenneth Armstrong, age 68, of 2012 Leo Avenue, Sarasota, Florida. Again, the family of Mr. Raymond Jerome Lane of Ashburn, Georgia, the family of Miss Gloria Paul of Cordele, Georgia, the family of Deacon James Ezekiel Hope, better known as Buddy Boy, age 93, of Vienna, Georgia, the family of Mr. Kenneth Armstrong of Sarasota, Florida, and Cordele, Georgia, would like to thank their many friends for all of the many kindnesses shown to them during their hours of sorrow and bereavement during the past week. May God bless each of you, is their prayer. The Jwwilliams funeral directors serving Cordele and Vienna were in charge of each of these arrangements during the past week. And now, it is certainly with the deepest regret that we make the following announcement. Mr. Jimmy Arthur Royal, age 83, of 1008 South 14th Street, Cordele, Georgia, died Wednesday, August 14th, at the Chris Regional Hospital in Cordele, Georgia. Survivors include his loving and devoted wife, Mrs. Louise Parker Royal of Cordele, Georgia, his loving and devoted children, Miss Melina Bivens and her husband, Mr. Jackie Bivens, Miss Deborah Harper, Mr. Kenneth Royal and his wife, Mrs. Catherine Royal, all of Cordele, Georgia, Mrs. Tawana Royal Wilson and her husband, Mr. Demetrius Wilson of Lyron, Georgia, and Miss Wanda Bryant Johnson of Washington State. His bonus children, Miss Renetta Merle of Tifton, Georgia, Mr. Wayne Owens of Fayetteville, Mr. Calvin Johnson and his wife, Mrs. Mary Johnson of Americus, Georgia, Mr. Gaither Harris of Tifton, Georgia, Miss Faye Johnson of Cordele, Georgia, Mr. Darrell Westbrook and his wife, Mrs. Bernice Westbrook of Las Vegas, Nevada, Miss Teresa Mayo and her husband, Mr. Dennis Mayo. 11 beloved grandchildren, to include a devoted grandson whom he raised and his caregiver, Mr. Rontavious Dean. 12 beloved great-grandchildren, 2 great-great-grandchildren, his loving, devoted sisters, Mrs. Etta Peacock of Cordele, Georgia, Miss Bertha Castro of Jacksonville, Florida, and Mrs. Jwwilliams of Miami, Florida. His beloved brothers, Mr. Johnny Royal and Mr. Buford Royal, and his wife, Mrs. Cora Royal, both of Cordele, Georgia. Mr. Bobby Royal and his wife, Mrs. Florence Royal of Miami, Florida. A beloved aunt, Mrs. Caristine Carmichael of Warner Robins, Georgia. His beloved in-law, Miss Helen Sanders and her husband, Mr. E.W. Sanders, and Mr. Hinton Dean, both of Cordele, Georgia. A host of beloved nieces, nephews, cousins, other relatives, and many, many sorrowing friends survive. Mr. Jimmy Arthur Royal, age 83, of 1008 South 14th Street, Cordele, Georgia. The funeral service for Mr. Jimmy Arthur Royal, age 83, will be held Saturday, August 24th at 11 a.m. in the chapel of the Jwwilliams Funeral Home. The Reverend Johnny B. Dean, pastor of the New Poplar Springs Baptist Church, will officiate. The public visitation will be Friday, August 23rd, from 1 until 5 p.m. at the Jwwilliams Funeral Home. Miss Adasia S. Hale, age 27, 121 Packing House Road, Americus, Georgia, died Sunday, August 11th, in Americus, Georgia. Survivors include her loving children, Miss McKees Hale and Miss Marie Hale, both of Americus, Georgia. Her loving and devoted parents, Mr. Christopher Hale, Sr. of Plains, Georgia, and Minister Gabriel Hale Carter of Americus, Georgia. Her loving sister, Miss Ramona Carter of Americus, Georgia. Her beloved brothers, Mr. Christopher Hale, Jr., Mr. Landon Carter, and Mr. Keon Cross, all of Americus, Georgia. Her loving grandmother, Miss Diane Carter of Americus, Georgia. A beloved aunt, Miss Sanrita Carter of Americus, Georgia. A host of aunts, uncles, cousins, other relatives, and many, many sorrowing friends survive. Miss Adasia S. Hale, age 27, of 121 Packing House Road, Americus, Georgia. The funeral service for Miss Adasia S. Hale, age 27, will be announced at a later date, pending the completion of the arrangements. The Jwwilliams funeral directors, serving Cordele and Diana, are in charge of each of these arrangements during this week. obituary funeral announcement, Mrs. Annie Doris Gaston Bratton. Funeral service was held on Saturday, August 17th in Tampa, Florida. The Jwwilliams Funeral Home of Tampa, Florida was in charge of all arrangements. Friends, that conclude our funeral notices for this morning. And as always, we do remind you concerning our pre-funeral arrangements planning available at the Jwwilliams Funeral Home, with packages available with a single pay, a 3-year pay, a 5-year pay, and a 10-year pay. So please stop by and talk with us concerning your pre-funeral arrangements needs available at the Jwwilliams Funeral Home.
And now for announcements. The Evergreen Baptist Church of Pinehurst homecoming service will be observed on Sunday, August 25th, beginning at 11 o'clock a.m. The pastor, Reverend Dawan Griggs, will deliver the message. 3-night services will begin on Monday, August 26th. Bobby McKenzie. Wednesday, August 28th, Minister Kawana Walker. Everyone has a cordial invitation to attend. Sister Bertha L. Thomas, Secretary. Deacon John D. Law, Chairman of Deacons. Reverend Dawan Griggs is the pastor. The Old Corinth Baptist Church of Leslie, Georgia homecoming will be observed today, Sunday, August 18th, beginning at 10 o'clock a.m. Reverend Harrison of the Big Bethel Baptist Church, Marshallville, will be the guest speaker. Dinner will be served. Deacon Eldridge Mercer, Chairman of Deacons. Dr. C.O. McKinstry is the pastor. New Life Church of Leesburg inaugural celebration will be observed on Sunday, August 25th at 2 o'clock p.m. Everyone is cordially invited to attend. Reverend Johnny Holsey, pastor-elect. The McAfee Grove Baptist Church, Highway 19 of Leesburg, invites everyone to worship with them during their family night services on Tuesday at 7 o'clock p.m., small class study Thursdays at 7 o'clock p.m., Sunday morning worship service at 9 o'clock a.m. You may call them by joining 425-436-6341. The access code is 708058. Minister Tawanda Daniels, Secretary. Dr. Robert L. Morgan Sr. is the pastor. The New Corinth Baptist Church, Hooksville Road, Leslie, invites everyone to worship with them each third Sunday beginning at 10 o'clock a.m. Brother Carl Smith is the pastor. Mrs. Veranda Cladd, a certified American Heart Association BLS instructor, is offering initial certification and recertification in CPR, AED, and first aid training. For more information, please contact Mrs. Cladd at 229-267-3229. The Allen Temple AME Church of Cordele will observe its 132nd anniversary today, beginning at 3 o'clock p.m. Everyone has a cordial invitation
to attend. They extend a cordial invitation for everyone to worship with them. Reverend Robert Anglish is the pastor. The New Williams Grove Baptist Church invites everyone to worship with them today during their worship service beginning at 11 o'clock a.m. Reverend Willie James Felton will be the speaker. Everyone is invited. Dinner will be served. Mother Grading Ford, church mother. Reverend Nikita Lester is the pastor. The Crossroad Baptist Church one-night revival will begin on Thursday, August 22nd at 7 o'clock p.m. Dr. Kenneth M. Williams, pastor of the Greater Mars Tabernacle Baptist Church, will be the revivalist. Everyone is cordially invited to attend. Deacon Jimmy Charles Mumphrey, chairman of deacons. Reverend Nelson Maynor is the pastor. The annual Mission Day service of the Jwwwilliams Baptist Church will be on Sunday, August 25th at 2 o'clock p.m. Dr. Alicia M. Johnson of Kingdom Life Christian Fellowship, Savannah, Georgia, will be the guest speaker. Everyone is invited to attend. Mother Diane Flood, church mother. Deacon Willie Smith, chairman of deacons. Dr. Dwayne L. Daniels is the pastor. The Shady Grove Baptist Church Men and Women's Day program will be on Sunday, August 25th at 11 o'clock a.m. Evangelist Paulette Thornton will be the guest speaker. Everyone is invited to attend. Sister Shawana Davis, secretary. Deacon Sam Mumphrey, chairman of deacons. Reverend Kelvin E. Drake is the pastor. The Beautiful Zion Baptist Church extends a cordial invitation for you to worship with them during its annual revival services beginning on Wednesday, August 28th through 3rd and August 29th at 7 o'clock p.m. Our program will be Wednesday, Zion Hope, Mount Bethel, and Reverend Willie James Felton and the New Williams Grove Baptist Church. Thursday, Davis Chapel and Reverend Wilburn, St. James, Zion Grove, and Mount Olive Baptist Church. The revival will climax on Sunday, September 1st. The pastor will deliver the message. Mother Donna A. Childs, church mother. Reverend Lorinda Ray is the pastor. The annual revival services of the Mount Calvary Baptist Church will be held on September 10th through 12th, beginning at 7 p.m. each night. Reverend Ronnie Brinson, pastor of the Mount Olive Baptist Church of Sparks, will be the revivalist. Everyone is cordially invited to attend. Sister Valerie Robertson, church clerk. Deacon Leon Spears, chairman of deacons. Reverend Isaac Owens is the pastor. Little Blessings Daycare of Cordele is taking applications for enrollment for ages 1 through 12. For more information, please contact Ms. Chauncey Roundtree at 229-296-1218. Now open Right Choice DUI School in Warner Robins, offering online and in-person classes. Weekday and weekend classes are also available. For more information, call 478-210-6346. You're cordially invited to worship at the Greater Mars Tabernacle Baptist Church today. Sunday school begins at 9 o'clock a.m., worship service at 9:30 a.m. Mother Mary Henderson, church mother. Deacon Arthur L. Parker, chairman of deacons. Dr. K.M. Williams is the pastor. The Gethsemane Baptist Church extends a cordial invitation for you to worship with them today. Worship service begins at 10:30 a.m. Deacon Johnny Wilson, chairman of deacons. Reverend Cecil Straughter is the pastor. The New Oak Grove Baptist Church invites everyone to worship with them each Sunday for Sunday school beginning at 9:15 a.m. Worship service at 10 o'clock a.m. Face covering is required. You're cordially invited to worship with the St. Paul Presbyterian Church each first and third Sundays beginning at 11 o'clock a.m. If you have any questions, please contact the pastor, Pastor Obita Hegman, at 229-406-1333, or the clerk of sessions, Elder Ola Outlaw, at 229-322-9775. Pastor Obita Hegman is the pastor. You're cordially invited to worship at the Greater Gum Creek Baptist Church today, each first, second, third, and fourth Sundays beginning at 10:30 a.m. Mother Norma Solomon is the church mother. Deacon Zachary Fields is chairman of deacons. Reverend Joseph Hagerbrook is the pastor. And now for a special announcement regarding an event that will take place on Sunday, August 25th at Reed Park. Everyone is cordially invited to get out for the rally that will take place at Reed Park
where signs for the upcoming election will be distributed. If you have those signs that you would like to get out, we ask that you would remember to get them out, to come out to Reed Park on Sunday, August 25th, for the Get Out and Vote campaign, to make sure that we are ready for that. It will begin on Sunday, August 25th. And everyone is cordially invited to attend. This is a wonderful time for us to get out and to get together to make sure that we're there. This is in reference to the Get Out and Vote rally. The event will begin at 4 o'clock p.m. and will last until 7 o'clock p.m. Voters registration will be available, and you're also invited to join us for neighborhood canvassing. Light refreshments will be provided for all those who will serve as canvassers as well. Remember, that's Sunday, August 25th, beginning at 4 o'clock p.m. until 7 o'clock p.m. at Reed Park here in Cordele. You're also reminded that you may get your free Harris Walls yard signs there as well. They will be distributed at that time. We do want you to know that this is being sponsored by the local chapter of the Cordele-Crisp County branch of the NAACP. We'd also like to remind you that coming up on September 17th is National Voters Registration Day. If you have not taken the time to register to vote, please do so with the National Voters Registration Day. For more information, you may contact any member of the local chapter of the NAACP for more information. That concludes our announcements for today.
And now for dedication. Our first selection this morning is dedicated to the following: in loving memory of Deacon J.C. Patrick Sr., who departed this life August 17, 2014. Dedication requested by the Patrick family, gone but not forgotten. In loving memory of Mr. Florridge Office, who departed this life July 1st, 2022. Dedication requested by his beloved wife, his children, his parents, and the entire office and Patrick family, gone but not forgotten. In loving memory of Mrs. Rose Baldwin, who would have celebrated her birthday July 28th. Dedication requested by her beloved children, Ms. Bernice Laster, Mr. Ray Field, Mrs. Mary Baldwin, Mrs. Shirley B. Ray, Mr. Henry and Mrs. Ann Bennett, her beloved grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and the entire family, gone but not forgotten. In loving memory of Mr. James Smith, better known as Teddy, who departed this life August 14, 2014. Dedication requested by his beloved grandchildren and the entire family, gone but not forgotten. In loving memory of Mrs. Abita Stubbins, better known as Abby, who departed this life August 14, 2011, and would have celebrated her birthday August 29. Dedication requested by her beloved children, grandchildren, her parents, and the entire family, gone but not forgotten. In loving memory of retired educator Mr. Benjamin Murray, who departed this life August 15, 1988. Dedication requested by the Hardeman, Preston, and Cobb family, gone but not forgotten. In loving memory of Mr. Curtis Lofton of Araby, Georgia, who departed this life August 16, 2017. Dedication requested by his beloved wife, Mother Adeline Lofton, his children, grandchildren, and the entire family, gone but not forgotten. In loving memory of Mr. Peter Cook, who would have celebrated his birthday August 19, dedication requested by his beloved wife, Mrs. Eddie Mae Cook, his children, grandchildren, his beloved sisters, Mother Jessie Kate Harmon, and Bishop Maggie Washington, and the entire family. Precious memory lingers still. In loving memory of our friend and brother, Mr. James Larry Edwards, who departed this life August 19, 2007, and would have celebrated his birthday August 26. Dedication requested by his beloved brothers Walter and Billy Edwards and the entire family, forgotten. In Mr. Corey Jones, who departed this life August 20th, 2004. Dedication requested by his beloved mother, Ms. Ann Rouse, and the entire family. Gone but not forgotten. A loving member, Mrs. Catherine Lamar, who would have celebrated her birthday August 21st. Dedication requested by the entire family. A loving memory of Mr. A. J. Daphne, who departed this life August 21st, 1974. Dedication requested by his beloved daughter, Mrs. Sabrina Fields, and family. Gone but not forgotten. A loving memory of Deacon Janet James Pickens,